It
is about time. Let's break this mother down with Shizzywhiznut.
An open letter to Preston and Cook. When the legal dumpster fire won't burn quietly. Dear Lynette John. At this point, I have to ask, are you even trying to win anything in court, or is this just performance art for the chronically litigious and legally illiterate? Because what just happened, and more importantly, what just got exposed, is such a blinding display of idiocy that I'm surprised Randy Shockett didn't submit it to the Guinness Book of Dumbass Records instead of federal court. You know, it takes a special kind of audacity to sue someone, cry about it, then pretend you didn't want things go sideways. After months of flailing around in the federal court system like toddlers let loose on the paint aisle, you finally reached the realization that your little counterclaim wasn't going anywhere. So what do? You try to yank the ripcord mid-nosedive and pretend none of it ever happened. No accountability, no consequences, no explanation, just a weak please dismiss motion. Hoping that the court will give you a clean slate and a juice box on the way out. It takes an ever rare level of legal incompetence to try twice and get called out both times. Yet here we are, once again witnessing the slow motion collapse of your latest legal escapade, this time with the added bonus of having Randy Shockett shove your attempt at voluntary dismissal back down your throat like a stale Twinkie wrapped in Florida Statute 5480 filings. Unfortunately for you, the court doesn't run on delusions and Dollar Tree legal logic. And even more unfortunately for you, Randy was standing at the gate with a shovel, a statute book, and two-dismissal rule in hand. You might want to look at that one up, preferably in something more robust than a TikTok video or a sovereign citizen message board. You too filed counterclaims so bloated with recycled nonsense and bullshit and strategic whining that even sovereign citizens would have passed on it. And when it started collapsing under the weight of its own stupidity, yet again, you tried to do what all cowards and con artists do. You sneak out the back door and pretend the fire wasn't your fault. Except, oops. Turns out your fairy god litigator, Bruce the Bubbles main skin, already played this exact card in Levy County. And by played, I mean he drafted one of the most pathetic, legally nonsensical filings I've ever seen, handed it to you like it was gold-plated strategy, and you, drooling with desperation and devoid of a single independent thought and possibly brain cell, said, "Gee, thanks, Bubbles, let's file this again." Let me break this down for you real slow. Are you already filed the same garbage once before? In Preston v. Hales, Levy County, you screamed about YouTube thumbnails. You cried about being mocked and tried to sue for someone not asking your permission to be more interesting than you. And then after threatening injunctions, alleging damage, invoking the very name of every YouTuber ever uttered your name, you pulled the plug, voluntarily dismissing it. Without prejudice, of course, because heaven forbid you actually stand by something you wrote. You folded faster than a dollar store lawn chair, and now nearly a year later, here you are trying to pull the exact same bullshit stunt in federal court, hoping no one notices the copy-paste job. Bad news, someone noticed. Randy Shockett showed up, receipts in hand, with that Levy County complaint stapled to his opposition like a scarlet letter that you can't tear off. And in case you missed it for the fall of your own self-righteous victimhood, under Rule 41A1B, the two-dismissal rule, if you don't get to do that. You already bailed once. Doing it again now doesn't just make you look gutless. It triggers an adjudication on the merits. That's legalese for you lose for good. Go the fuck home. This isn't a game of do-overs and dismissals. This is federal court. You can't toss a Molotov motions around and then beg for a clean slate once the heat turns up. And no, just because you hit upload on a YouTube video once doesn't mean you understand how litigation works. You don't. You filed a federal counterclaim, tried to wiggle out of it the moment it got uncomfortable, and hoped no one would bother connecting to the dots to your previous state court hissy fit. And now, under the sacred guidance of the bar brawler from Connecticut with a professional track record of a drunk tax attorney on meth, you try to file it again in federal court like no one would notice. Like the courts are just your personal sandbox and everybody else is too dumb to remember what you did 9 months ago. You didn't even bother to change the accusations. You just slapped a new header on it, recycled the same pathetic victim complex about YouTube thumbnails, hoping that the judge was asleep. Well, guess what? He wasn't. Randy didn't just oppose your motion, he called it was a blatant attempt to dodge consequences, a time-wasting exercise in legal cosplay and the textbook abuse of the court's patience. He made it clear that this isn't about protecting Jeremy Hales from more baseless litigation, it's about holding you accountable for clogging the courts with the same rehated garbage you already couldn't defend once. Whether it's Levy County or federal court, the message is the same. If you file it, you own it. Let's not forget that Levy County complaint actually said, you accused Jeremy and George of fabricating a YouTube reality drama and stealing your life for content. You claimed your likeness was being used without consent in thumbnails. Man, why am I so sleepy? And videos as if you're some kind of off-brand Kardashian worth copywriting. You even accused a DUI guy, DJ Radis, of joining the grand conspiracy as if your face alone is responsible for the success of their channels. Trust me, it's not. This wasn't just legally unserious, it was completely delusional, bordering on parody, and after all that noise, you tucked your tail and dismissed it with the moment someone had the nerve to push back. And now you want the same out again. You want to say, never mind, judge, without the consequences. Well, sorry, but you've used up your freebies. You don't get to fling your turds into the courtroom and skip out during cleanup. The court has rules. The world has rules. Hell, let's be clear, this wasn't just a mistake. This was bad lawyering by accident. This was a deliberate, coordinated act of stupidity engineered by Deuce, who spoon-fed you this doom strategy, then apparently fled the scene with his cape tucked between his legs not once, but twice. And you clapped along like the little toddlers thinking, oh, you're making great law instead of making fools of yourselves. Idiots. Do you understand what kind of idiocy it takes to lose the same case before it's even ruled on? And just by how do you file it? Court didn't even have to reach the substance. It had to count. Once in the state court, dismissed voluntarily. Once in federal court, motion to dismiss. That's it. Game over. The law is designed to protect people against people exactly like you. People who weaponize the court system like it's a comment section. People who think repeating a lie in a new format somehow makes it true. People who follow Ducey and Volpe and Paint Chip and Lips off a legal cliff and then act surprised when gravity hits in. What did you think was going to happen? Just let me say this plainly. If your legal strategy relies on the guy who's been sanctioned so many times, his bar number should come with a warning label, your ass deserves to lose. Bubbles isn't your savior. He's a glorified ghostwriter for lawsuits that no legitimate attorney would put their name on. He sold you a fantasy, one that ends with your filings getting shredded in court and your credibility going up in smoke. And now that you think you tried to slink through Rule 41, Randy's standing at the next exit holding a mirror and the receipts. This was never about justice. This was about control, revenge, pretending you still had the upper hand after getting humiliated by someone with a YouTube channel. You threw a tantrum, slapped together a claim with no legal legs, and now that it's about to be tossed in the legal incinerator, you're begging the judge to let you disappear without consequence. But no, sweet cheeks, not this time. You filed it, you owned it, and now you get to eat it with prejudice. Biatches. Good luck explaining this to your next lawyer, assuming anyone will take this case after seeing your name tied to Ducey's failed litigation Ponzi scheme. Yours in secondhand embarrassment. Shizzywhiznut, historian of bad litigation, unofficial archivist of Levy County meltdowns, professional dismissal spotter with no retainer required, still not a lawyer, still smarter than you, John and Michelle, and still your daddy. Ooh, yeah, bad me. That's a bad me. Shame on me.
It is about time. Let's break this mother down. With Shizzywhiznut.